Let me take a moment and talk about Riverside.fm. It allows you to record studio quality audio and up to 4K video. When you need to record audio and video, Riverside.fm can do it. So if you're looking for a hero platform for all your recording needs, from podcasts to webinars to any video content, Riverside.fm. I've got a promo code for you where you'll receive a 30% discount on the first 3 months of your subscription. I'll give it to you twice. The promo code is SHIPIT. All one word, SHIPIT, and you'll pick up a 30% discount on your first 3 months of your subscription. Riverside.fm.
In this episode of the Football History Headlines, we discuss many Super Bowls and Pro Bowls played on January 25th, as well as many more Hall of Fame legendary birthdays and stories, all coming up for you in just one moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com, your portal to positive football history. Welcome to the Pig Pen, and we are so glad to have you here. It's a great day of January 24th history that we're going to be talking about. But before we get into our football history headlines, I just want you to let you know we have another podcast that I'm doing, a daily podcast starting today, January 24th. We have the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. We're going to slip some feeds into Pigskin Dispatch, so your podcast provider for Pigskin Dispatch, you'll see the Jersey Dispatch one popping up for the daily of January 24th. Don't be alarmed. That is another one of our podcasts. You can also subscribe and look for it at your favorite podcast provider, Sports Jersey Dispatch. We're going to be having those come out every day. Like I said, a couple times this week, we're going to drop feed them into the Pigskin Dispatch feed, so you can have those too. So now let's get to your football history headlines. We're getting closer and closer to this year's Super Bowl, and as we do, we're going through history and talking about all the past Super Bowls, and we have over 50 of them to discuss, and we're getting more and more by the day. And today we're going to talk about 3. The first one took place on January 25th, 1981 at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Oakland Raiders squared off against each other in Super Bowl 15. Both teams had great stories coming into the contest. The American Football Fandom site has an insightful article on the game and these stories leading up to it. In the week leading up to the game, President Ronald Reagan was sworn in and the Iran hostage crisis had just ended. In light of those recent events, there was a definite patriotic vibe to the events of the venue itself as the pre-game ceremonies honored the end of the crisis. The Raiders were playing in the franchise's 3rd Super Bowl and had beaten the Oilers, Browns, and Chargers in the playoffs to win the AFC from the wild card position. The Eagles were playing in their first Super Bowl under a young head coach with a style new to the NFL in Dick Vermeil. The Raiders, guided by quarterback Jim Plunkett, jumped out to an early 14-0 lead, and the Eagles were ill-equipped to recover from it. And when they did try, the Raiders linebacker Rod Martin picked off Philadelphia quarterback Ron Jaworski 3 times for a Super Bowl record. The Oakland Raiders defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10. Jim Plunkett was voted as the MVP of the game after completing 13 of 21 passes for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns. Plunkett was a second Heisman winner after Roger Staubach to be named a Super Bowl MVP, and the Raiders were the first franchise to win it all from the wild card spot. Well, if you like that Super Bowl news, let's talk about another one. January 25th, 1987, at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. Super Bowl 21 was played between the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants, per a Newsday article from the day after the game. The Broncos quarterback John Elway was under siege all day from a giant defense that featured the likes of Harry Carson, Leonard Marshall, and Lawrence Taylor. In fact, he was sacked 4 times in a game, and 1 was for a safety in the second quarter. Phil Simms, the Giants quarterback, on the other hand, completed 22 of 25 passes, pretty amazing right there, for 268 yards and 3 touchdowns, and was named the game's MVP as the Giants defeated the Denver Broncos 39-20. One of the greatest scenes from the postgame was when New York franchise owner Wellington Mara was handing the Lombardi Trophy to coach Bill Parcells in jubilation of the Giants' first Super Bowl victory. Okay, they always say good things come in threes. Well, let's talk about a third Super Bowl for January 25th. This one took place in 1998 at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. Super Bowl 32 was a matchup of two legendary gunslinger QBs as Green Bay's Brett Favre took the field for the Packers, and the Broncos had their signal caller John Elway, per a Washington Post article. Elway and company put on a late drive in the fourth. Running back Terrell Davis found pay dirt with a 1-yard touchdown with 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining, and it broke a 24-all tie. The Denver Broncos beat the Green Bay Packers 31-24, with Bronco running back Terrell Davis voted as the game's MVP after rushing for 157 yards and 3 TDs against one of the best NFL defenses that year. And we have January 25th, 2015 at the University of Phoenix, Glendale, Arizona. The NFL is trying some different things to make the stale Pro Bowl a bit more interesting to viewers. The NFL.com article described it as a second season that was used as an unconferenced format with players selected without regard to conference and voting by the fans, coaches, and players. The 2014 season's NFL Pro Bowl pitted a team coached by Michael Irvin to play a team of Pro Bowlers of Chris Carter. The Irvin squad won the game 32-28. The Pro Bowl MVPs were Houston's J.J. Watt and Detroit Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford. As we take a quick break from the headlines, let me remind you that you can also learn more about gridiron history on our website, pigskindispatch.com. And you can contact me, Darren Hayes, at pigskindispatch@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Speaking of hearing from someone, here is one of my podcasting partners from the sportshistorynetwork.com that has a message for you.
Hi, folks. Are you curious about some of the unique players, teams, games, and events of pro football's past? If you are, please check out my bi-weekly podcast, The Pigskin Past. I'm Joe Zagorski, a member of the Pro Football Writers of America and the Pro Football Researchers Association. I've written 3 books about pro football history, and I'm currently writing my 4th. Now, my era of expertise is the 1970s in the NFL. Heck, I even have a Facebook page by that title, and my very first book also has the same title, The NFL in the 1970s. But every now and then I check out a different era, so I might surprise you. Anyway, if you like pro football history, please check out my bi-weekly segment here called The Pigskin Past when you get a chance. I think you'll enjoy it.
Now that's definitely something you'll want to check out. Now let's talk about some birthdays of this January 25th, and we'll start off in 1924, Martins Ferry, Ohio. Ohio State lineman and place kicker Lou the Toe Grosza was born. We've talked quite a bit about Grosza in our headlines over the past couple of months, especially when there were big games for the Cleveland Browns. In particular, the last-second field goal that gave the Browns the 1950 NFL championship comes to mind. The Hall of Fame states that Grosza's career in the league lasted for 21 seasons. The first 12 he played as offensive tackle and kicked, while the last 9 he was just a kicking specialist only. The Toe was the last of the original Cleveland Browns to retire from the league. He made all NFL as a tackle 6 times and was the NFL Player of the Year in 1954. Lou scored 1,608 points in his 21 seasons played, with 4 in the AFC championships and 9 NFL title games. Lou Grosza was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in the year 1974. January 25th, 1935, Crosbytown, Texas. Don Maynard, the durable wide receiver from Texas Western, celebrated his birth. The Pro Football Hall of Fame quotes Maynard as saying that his record that he is most proud of is the fact that he was the first to achieve 10,000 yards receiving in an NFL career. The legendary wideout attributed the accomplishment of this feat by his playing longevity, which lasted for 15 seasons in the NFL. The Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrined the gridiron feats of Don Maynard in 1987. January 25th, 1942, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Carl Eller, the stud University of Minnesota tackle, arrived into this life. After a great 1963 season, Carl was a first-team choice on 8 of the 9 major All-America teams, just missing out on being a unanimous selection. The NFF tells us that Eller played both sides of the ball for the Gophers at tackle. The National Football Foundation selected Carl Eller's collegiate career to be honored in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2006. As a professional, he was moved exclusively to the defense after being selected in the first round of the NFL draft by the Minnesota Vikings. Eller became a fixture in one of the greatest defensive lines in history, the Vikings' famous Purple People Eaters, as he was teamed up with the great Jim Marshall. He played 16 seasons at DN for Minnesota, amassing 44 sacks per the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In 2004, Carl Eller received the great honor of being enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. January 25th, 1944, La Porte, Texas. Michigan State's talented wideout Gene Washington celebrated his birth. The footballfoundation.org bio for Gene lists that Washington started as a sophomore. Washington would go on to set Michigan State records for wide receivers in receptions and yards. Gene is in rare company when he was a 2-time first-team All-American. The Spartans teams that Gene was part of earned 2 shared national titles. The National Football Foundation selected Gene Washington for the Football Hall of Fame of college in year 2011. Gene was a first-round pick in the 1967 NFL Draft by the Minnesota Vikings, who selected him 8th overall. He played 7 seasons in the NFL, both with Minnesota and with the Denver Broncos. His stat line shows that he caught 182 passes and 26 touchdowns as a pro. Washington was a 2-time Pro Bowler and was named as a first-team All-Pro in 1969. January 25th, 1985. The great linebacker from Mississippi, Patrick Willis, was born. The NFF tells us that Patrick won both the Butkus Award and the Jack Lambert Awards after the 2006 season at Ole Miss, recognizing him as one of the nation's top college linebackers, as well as being selected as a consensus first-team All-American. The National Football Foundation voters chose Patrick Willis to gain entrance into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2019. Willis was the 11th overall pick in the 2007 NFL Draft by the San Francisco 49ers, where he played for 8 seasons. Patrick won the 2007 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year and was a 7-time Pro Bowl selection. There were 2 different seasons where he led the NFL in tackles and won the Professional Butkus Award in the year 2009. We're so glad you took some time out of your day to join us once again, and we hope you come back tomorrow for January 26 football history headlines and shows beyond that too. The best way to do that so you don't miss a thing is to hit your subscribe button on your podcast player right now. Go to your favorite podcast provider and tell them, hey, I want to subscribe to this Pigskin Daily History Dispatch podcast. Or you can email us at pigskinddispatch@gmail.com, and we'll send you a daily email on our email list to make sure you come up with as soon as the articles and the podcasts are released. You can also go to the sportshistorynetwork.com to see this podcast release episodes, as well as many other. And right now we have 13 or 14 podcasts on there that are getting posted all the time on some great sports history topics with some great guests and some very talented hosts. So make sure you check that out at sportshistorynetwork.com. Peeking up at the clock, the time's running down. We're going to go into victory formation, take a knee, and let this baby run out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next podcast. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so
retro
it was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
flowers.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.
Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandom at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.